Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. A big thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music, Nick Carmio for our artwork, and to you for listening to the podcast. Boy, we sure do hope that you're enjoying it, but we really don't know. The only way we can know is if you were, to give us a rating or review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast, or maybe if you were to use our link tree and give us a topic suggestion for a destination in one of our future episodes. Then we would know for sure that you are enjoying what you're hearing. And if you're not, we could know that too. Maybe we could make changes. Now, let's get real. That isn't going to happen. But I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, podcast listeners. Do not touch that dial. By the way, a dial is a thing that used to exist on things that you could adjust what you were listening to. It doesn't. It's not pertinent to this context, though. So, translate that to whatever device you're listening on. Anyway, welcome to Drunkard's Walk. This is already not the best episode, so apologies for that. If you haven't guessed by my rambling and bambling and stumbling and bumbling, this is Jethro Nolan, and I am one of the hosts of this episode, indeed this podcast overall, and patiently waiting to be introduced by my side is my increasingly tolerant co-host, Mr. Matt Hartman. Matt, say hello to the people, and if you can, salvage this entire episode.
Hi, everyone. Boy, Jethro, it is a delight listening to you. And I think, seriously, I think the 3 weeks you spent working on that script absolutely paid off.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
that landed in a way that I would never, you said, read this and let me know what you think. I read it and I said, I don't think that's going to fly, man. But you really made it work there. That was fantastic. So well done. Well done.
Matt, I find it always to be very helpful to, first of all, introduce a completely outdated technological interface.
Sure.
And then realize that it's outdated and try to recapture the youths whose audience we need to build if we ever want to turn this into a monetizable entity. So
yeah, no, I have listened to all of the 8-track tapes you've sent me about how to do a broadcast of any kind, and they point in that direction as well. So I say,
well I tell you what, if you like the 8-tracks, you're going to love my Edison wax coils.
Yes,
that I have.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'll be sending you your way.
Well, Jethro, this is exciting. We're here now deep into our 10th season, and we've had some fun along the way so far. And I'm excited to see where we keep going as we walk through Wikipedia from one random topic to another using only the links inside.
That's what we do on this show.
I know. That's that was my subtle way of reminding the listener about that, or potentially informing the listener if this is the first time they've ever listened. Although, we had that episode a few ones back that had Taylor Swift in the title. So I have to assume at this point we have millions of listeners
presumably
who know us for the last 3 or 4 episodes, because
we got that Tay-Tay bump.
Yeah, for sure.
If you ever listen to Taylor Swift's music, what she does and what we do are virtually indistinguishable. So I would think that there's just a natural overlap between Tay-Tay's audience and our audience, and one presumes that millions of dollars will be forthcoming in the future moments. So,
that is certainly possible, Jethro. But here's the thing. You know who else we have a little bit of a listenership overlap with?
Could it be people who enjoy the Mickey Rooney, Helen Reddy film Pete's Dragon from 1978?
That's possible, but more provable is the slight overlap that we have with a fantastic podcast called Escape This Podcast. And you might remember, Jethro, that last season we had on the two folks who make that podcast happen, Bill and Dani, and they, you know what? They are some of the best people that we've met. They talked about our podcast. Listeners came and listened to us because of them. And then, Jethro, I reached out and said, how about doing it again? And they said yes. And so here they are. They're here. They're right here.
Hello. I've got a blank slate baby, and I'm writing Bill Sunderland on it. Welcome. It's me.
I don't know know if that's how that worked.
I've got a blank slate, baby, and
That
I'm writing
said,
Dani Silla. Here's
One
Dani.
could argue that a lot of her problems could have been solved if she had written her own name down more often.
You all knew that I was trouble when I walked in.
So I'm gathering from context clues that you are referencing actual Taylor Swift lyrics.
I spent so long coming in with a saying touch that dial is the modern equivalent of the fact that 50% of English idioms come from the age of sail. And I had that all locked and loaded. I was going to talk about a video I watched about the little tiny hoop on the glass maple syrup jars that you get now being a holdover from when there used to be giant jugs of maple syrup and you needed a big hoop to keep your finger in. And then they made them small. And
I was ready to talk about how by the time this episode comes out, podcasting is the obsolete technology.
We had a whole bit about that. And then you've gone to Taylor Swift and we had to pivot.
Yeah. Well,
well done on the pivot.
I applaud your nimble flexibility. Sadly, it's lost on me because I know zero, and I'm not casting any shade at all against Taylor Swift. She's clearly a phenomenally talented.
No, you've lost your millions of listeners.
Yeah,
they're out now.
Well done, Jethro. That's it.
No, they're lovely. We love the youths, but
it's too late. They're gone.
I would for realsies listen to an hour-long deep dive into the hoops on maple syrup jugs conversation.
If we want to bring it back to our technological understanding, no, I don't know if you saw this, but while you were giving this intro, I took my headphones off to sneeze.
Yeah, that didn't really help, I don't think.
I did see that.
We didn't hear it, so it
worked.
I don't know how taking your headphones off stopped us from hearing you, but it worked. So it was essentially the equivalent to when like children cover their eyes and think that you can't see them.
Very much so.
And yet it was successful. So well done is what I say to that. And also, thank you for coming and being on the show again. We really appreciate you being here. And I would like normally, we have guests on and we're like, hey, tell people about what you do. But basically, everyone that's listening to us has already listened to you. So there's really no reason for you to explain what you do.
Yeah.
Look, there'll be a few people out there. So why don't I do a quick recap?
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Super quick.
For those three people that have not heard your amazing podcast yet, tell them what it is.
Escape This Podcast is a show where we have guests on to play through audio escape rooms. We create an entire escape room just in the audio sphere, and guests try and solve it and get out. And you can listen along, and it's great fun. We have other shows. We have a show called Solve This Murder, where we do a similar thing, but it's one of us trying to be the detective in a murder mystery, which is an incredibly hard role to take when the detective was not written by the author. So it is good fun. But yeah, you can check those out if you haven't already.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely check those out. I haven't listened to the murder one yet. Every time I hear you guys talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to listen to that. And then I have 6 other podcasts already in my queue.
This is the world of podcasts.
Yeah.
We know enough people with podcasts, but we're like, hey, that's the best show I've ever heard of, and I'm so interested. I will listen to it in 4 years when there's time in my life to put another show on.
That's it. Yeah. As our listeners know, I'm still working my way through Good Job Brain, and I've gotten up to like 2022 now. So I'm so close. I'm going to get there. I know it. And I'm excited about here, like catching up and then being able to like go on their Facebook group and actually listen to what people are saying, because right now I'm just like, I don't know, no spoilers. I don't want to know what's going on. But so this is so great. We're so excited to have you back. And it hasn't been that long, but how have you been? Has anything exciting happened since we last spoke with you?
Probably, actually. There's one big new project, which there was a while where we couldn't have answered that question because we were under an NDA for a little bit. Now we're not, which is great.
Yeah.
One of our big new projects at the moment is we've been hired on to work as part of the writing team and the design team for a indie puzzle game, detective-y puzzle game, which is the sequel to a very popular indie puzzle detective game, Case of the Golden Idol, which came out at way too recently for us to be working on the sequel so hard. But this very, very fun project of these, and that'll be doesn't have an official release date yet, but it will be coming soon. But we've been having a lot of fun doing something new, working on a game, The Rise of the Golden Idol, which You can wishlist on Steam if you want. It's wishlistable.
That's what I was. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what media is this in? Is it a board game or video game or whatever? So clearly, it's a video game. And it will it be available on like you say it's on Steam? Will it be on other platforms as well?
I believe it will be available in a lot of places.
Oh, nice.
But I could not tell you the exhaustive list. But it's really fun.
We do the writing and game development. We don't have to worry about the logical logistics.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about being hired on as part of somebody else's project. You can just know where your role ends and then stop doing all of the work. It's great.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. So I just Googled this because I'm not, my finger's not on the pulse of that community, but this is a game that my daughter has been obsessed with and has insisted that I play. So
it's fantastic.
It's a great game, the original.
It's wonderful. And she's gone through the whole thing, but like, she wants to watch me play it, but she already knows the answers to everything. So it's super frustrating.
What a great feeling.
I like doing that. I play a game and then I watch Bill play it.
That's awesome.
But when you're the other person, when you click on something and the person next to you goes, interesting.
Yeah, I had that experience with my daughter with the Return of the Obra Dinn, where I played that and she was on my shoulder and I was like, I cannot. And that was when she was much younger and incapable of restraining her judgment of all of the moves.
I just started that game, and so I'm excited. Is it good? Is it like real good?
I didn't make it through because my daughter ruined it for me.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well,
we haven't played it yet.
No,
that's our secret.
It is our most recommended game that we are yet to play.
No human being in our life has not recommended that we play Obra Dinn. So
I'm sure it's a lovely game. Just don't play with my daughter, which for you, I think is probably a limited.
Shouldn't be an issue. Yeah.
No, I have to write that down because that was the plan. So I'll make a note.
No, at least you can note it now. Yeah. And so the first one is called what again? What about the Golden Idol?
Case
of the Golden Idol.
Case of the Golden Idol. Okay, I'm going to write that one down game. So that I play it. That's awesome. It sounds like it's right up my alley. I love those type of like puzzle type game. Like I was playing King's Quest, and did you ever play any of those? Like the old Sierra games? Like that was my my bread and butter when I was growing up.
Talk about dated references.
I know, right? Hey, let me get into Zork for you.
Yeah.
Here,
God, I was just gonna make a Zork reference.
Damn you've been eaten by a grue. All right. Let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to be heading off through Wikipedia. We're going to be starting at the Power Broker, which is where we stopped last week. For those that forgotten, that's a biography of Robert Moses, right, Jethro?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
The big urban planners of New York City.
That's right.
But made a tremendous impact on the current existence of the city, but also has a lot of problematic past, given his infusion of racism into his plans.
All right. This editorial does not necessarily express the views of Drunkard's Walk.
Matt,
you're going to take a strong Robert Moses
racism.
plan?
He doesn't want any kind of implication that the racism was bad.
I'm sorry, we don't have time to go into it. But what we do have time to do is to find out where it is we are going this week. So have you brought a topic with you to send us off to?
We've had some chats about it. Honestly, my problem is everything feels like it's going to be too easy. Like I remember the place that we started last time we were on, I was intimidated and impressed by how difficult that felt. But
we decided one of the things we wanted to bring was a little bit of Australiana for you.
Oh,
yeah.
All
So
right.
Classic Australia without feeling like racist Australia. And I'm glad. Honestly, it sounds like if we went with a racist angle, it would have been too easy again.
Yeah,
it would have been setting up
Moses would get us right there.
A list of famous racists.
It's a long list, unfortunately.
Yes.
So the first one I looked at potentially was Devon, which is a lunch meat that is somewhat popular with Australian school children, very young ones who don't know any better. But in the end, food.
Yeah, we had a quick glance at the North Sydney Bears, a minor league rugby team that used to play in the National Rugby League but doesn't anymore.
Okay.
Which would have been a bit odd.
But I felt like getting Australia, Sydney, North Sydney. again, too boring a path.
We had a quick look at the Big Merino, a very large statue of a sheep that is famous as part of Australia's culture of big things.
But while it does have a Wikipedia page, it was not substantial.
Ah, I see.
It was like a sentence away from being listed as a stub.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's okay.
But we ended up with something else. Classic piece of Australian culture and history. Dani?
It is a TV show that every Australian child has watched, generally at school on a rainy day where you were stuck in the classroom and your teacher had to pop a video in the VCR
Nice.
to get back to that technology.
Yeah.
And then turned a dial to get to the right channel.
Of course.
It is a
Poured maple syrup over the whole thing.
Exactly.
It is a series called Round the Twist.
I've heard of this.
Familiar with
Yeah.
it? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, do you have any round the twist facts?
I know that my wife watched it in the UK. That's all I
Yeah?
know.
Oh, it made it out.
Yes.
Yes.
And maybe I've seen like a clip here or there that she has shown me and been like, "Oh, this." But I tell us more, please, because clearly I don't know much.
Round the Twist was a TV show that was based on a series of kids' books by Paul Jennings. He just wrote short stories, sometimes slightly long ones, but generally these were short stories. And their entire concept was they were weird, often in a faintly supernatural way, often in a slightly gross or weird way that makes them fascinating for children. Like, what are some examples? There's one where the teenage, which ones? I can think of Round the Twist episodes. Which are the weird stories?
Oh, well, honestly, I remember the round the twist better. So, like, I remember kissing a statue of a mermaid, an ice statue of a mermaid, because you're like, oh, that's an attractive mermaid statue, and I'm a young teen boy. And then you get your lips stuck to the statue, and then does it come to life? There's something weird going on with this mermaid statue.
It's interesting. My kissing episode was the teen boy kissing a dryad and becoming pregnant with a tree baby.
Yeah, they're weird.
What?
There's
great.
one that I'm pretty sure is built around a child peeing very strongly.
This is true.
Like he has a lot of force when he pees, and that's the whole basis for an episode of the show.
So I'm pretty sure the concept was there are some weird mushrooms that can shapeshift into something that they are next to and then explode and laugh at you.
That sounds fair. There's a lot of ghosts floating around.
Oh, yeah. The family at the center of the TV series lives in a lighthouse, as one does.
Who live in a lighthouse?
A haunted lighthouse. The ghosts in the lighthouse never bother them. They're just there.
Yeah, it's a very chill, haunted lighthouse.
Yeah.
And the family whose cast keeps changing. I think there are three different dads and three different youngest sons and two different eldest daughters throughout the length of the show.
Which was remarkable for 4 seasons of a show.
Yeah, they recast a lot.
So you mentioned that this is like something they would put on in school. Like usually when that happened for us, the thing was like mildly educational or incredibly educational and very boring. It doesn't sound as though that is the case here.
Ghosts. It tells you how to deal with ghosts.
Okay.
It tells you not to pee too hard.
Sure.
These are life
I'm
lessons.
Shows you how to
fascinated
give birth to a tree via your mouth.
Yeah,
That's how the episode concludes.
Oh no.
I'm fascinated by the peeing too hard as a central element of the plot. So I take it that this is available on streaming. Is that?
God, I hope so.
Probably. But yeah, so Round the Twist, classic piece of Australian television.
What era? When did this premiere? When did it run?
It's gotta be just straight up 90s, right? Let's take a look.
I would predict like the year 1990 almost. Like
Okay.
1990, bang on.
There you go.
Okay.
You know what's bizarre? Because Google is fun and totally tells the truth these days. Listed as a biography.
Yeah.
Oh.
Has anyone noticed that Google's really kind of broken in the last couple of years? We were looking up Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams?
The Adventures of a Father and His 2 Children Who Live in a Lighthouse.
Yeah, that's wrong. They got the number of children wrong. Google doesn't do this very well anymore. If you
know what that does sound like though? That sound like Pete's Dragon. Helen Reddy and Mickey Rooney run a lighthouse. I'm saying it all comes back.
I mean, we the other day were Googling Field of Dreams, and immediately the text box summary was like a classic movie about basketball. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
I think maybe you got the sport wrong, Google.
It's incorrect.
That's amazing.
Yeah, where are they getting their information from these days? That seems like somebody is only wrong answers only is where they're checking for.
Honestly,
All right,
I think
let me ask a question. From the series regulars or the guest stars on Round the Twist, have there been any famous people that we might have otherwise heard of who have appeared on that show?
there is. The answer is no. You may have heard of
Perfect.
Mark Mitchell,
Mark
the
Mitchell
Australian
is definitely
comedian,
the most famous.
who is the most famous person that you haven't heard of, who's in that show.
But I would say the author of the books, Paul Jennings.
Paul Jennings as the author would get you around the twist very
famous.
easily.
Gotcha.
What else is
maybe
he?
you could-
Is Round the Twist his most famous creation, or?
Well, Round the Twist is the summary of his Just novels.
Uns.
Oh, his
The Uns.
Un novel. He had different series of short story collections which were like called like Just Kidding and Just blah blah blah, and then like
Okay.
Those weren't him.
they
That's
went
Andy
those
Griffith.
were Andy Griffith. Sorry, I've confused Paul Jennings and Andy Griffiths, like a classic
No, he
child
wrote-
in the 90s in Australia.
Yeah.
Andy Griffith
wrote
has to be a
things.
different person than I'm thinking of because I'm
Yeah.
picturing the guy that
Yes.
plays Matlock.
You are
Yeah.
correct.
Which one worked with Terry Denton?
That was Andy Griffith.
Okay, that was Andy Griffith.
Yeah, so he wrote like unreal, unbelievable, uncanny, unbearable, unmentionable, the naked ghost, and unseen, etc. Those were his sorts of things. But he's just a very English born, but very iconic Australian children's author.
Got
Okay.
it.
And
Okay.
yeah, he will definitely take you straight to all of his work was put on Round the Twist.
Also, maybe you could just find list of shows set in
Oh yeah,
lighthouses.
iconic Australian TV shows.
It'll be on any
absolutely
list of
work.
Australian television shows.
So
Um,
one of the interesting twists as regards to this season is that a couple of episodes ago we had the Blue Peter badge.
Oh,
as
boy.
Oh yeah, you have to get the Blue
Destinations.
Peter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Blue Peter is the
I take it by
secret
your
the UK
reaction that
doesn't
you're
wanna
familiar
tell
with
you.
Blue Peter.
That's right.
I've
Only-
seen one episode.
I've never seen it. I only know it because like you'll watch British quiz shows and they'll be
It's
like,
always
list these
Oh.
12 Blue Peter presenters in order, and everyone's like, easy. Why wouldn't you give us a hard question? And we're sitting here going, what's Blue
the
Peter?
one episode that I saw was amazingly educational.
Well,
Yeah,
There we go.
we've never seen it. We know nothing about it. I was just in the UK. I was gonna watch it because I was there, and I asked my my family that was over there, and they have a small child, and I was like, "Guys, watch Blue Peter," and they were like, "Is that still on?" No,
What?
no, why would we? No,
It went
no,
out with the
that.
dials.
It's crazy.
apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That was actually the thing, the episode that I watched. It was really, really old, and it was talking about like the new fascination of mobile phone technology.
There you go.
And
Yep.
it explained it in a way that I've never heard it explained before.
Huh.
Nice.
There it is. Well, this is great. This is we're going to another children's television show that we know nothing about because it wasn't
Yep,
broadcast
totally.
here at all. And I have no idea how we're going to get there from the Power Broker, Jethro, but we'll find a way because that's what we do, man. That's
So
our-
I'm trying to
that's
think
our
of like
job.
a U.S. analog to this, and again, not having been focused on children's literature for a very long time. The only thing that's coming to mind is like R.L. Stein and Goosebumps.
Yeah, or Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Now, Round the Twist was in no way ever pitched as spooky, but as a fan of all of those things as a
Yeah.
child, it definitely feels like it fits to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was supernatural, but not spooky.
No, not spooky. It was
was
just a bit
funny.
fun. It was like if it was like R.L. Stein, but he's constantly doing a :-P emoji.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
All the time.
I'm sensing a very strong urination theme.
different P. Different P, Jethro.
All right.
Well,
okay.
This is great. I like I said, I don't know how we're gonna find it, but I'm excited to get there and to read more about it because it sounds fascinating. And then I want to look it up later and see if it is streaming anywhere.
Just watch them all.
Yeah, it sounds
not?
amazing.
So-
and it
so
was.
Matt-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask one more question. It was a standard like kind of half-hour type show, right? It wasn't like a 10-minute short type of thing or anything.
I want to
was it?
say it was like a standard half hour.
I don't know if they had, or if it had like
They do two
multiple
in an episode.
things per episode. That's a
Oh,
very good
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Once you find that Wikipedia page, you tell us.
Well,
No,
yeah.
13
Well,
half-hour episodes.
Half hour episodes.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
And how many seasons did it run? How many total episodes?
4 seasons.
4 seasons. Okay.
50 or so episodes.
Okay.
Oh, right, because seasons are much shorter in other places where they don't overdo
Sometimes.
things and fill them with garbage.
Well, when you have as many cast issues as they did.
I've changed my mind. Once you get to Round the Twist, you're not done yet. You have to go one step further and find the TV show Liftoff, which is like Round the Twist, but with a creepy mannequin boy. Again, not a creepy show, not a scary show, but it does have a creepy faceless mannequin. And a talking lift?
So
I don't know. It's a weird show. No, you can stay. You can stay at Round the Twist.
I feel like per the, and again, we got to deal with corporate on this one, but per the rules of the podcast, we have to obey the original Round the Twist destination.
Yeah.
But as a special bonus, we will go on to that additional resource so we can be horrified by the thing that is clearly haunting you.
You'll
once
see
you're
what's
done,
got us.
Just Google Liftoff Australian TV and you'll find a creepy mannequin.
You'll get it.
Liftoff. All right. There we go. Well, again, we really want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this again. We love talking to you and we love having you here, and we love these suggestions. I mean, this is going to be a blast.
So Matt, I would love if we can get one more bit of information before they drop off. I know they're not able to stay for the whole journey, but I would love for them to guess with us the number of clicks it's going to take before we get to our destination.
Okay.
And they can reveal their guesses before we depart on this, and you and I can hold our guesses till the end, so we can see who's the best guesser.
But do we have to write ours before they say theirs?
We should definitely write ours before they say. Okay. And I've already done so.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, because I'm multitasking, baby. I'm dialed in.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm sticking with this whole dial reference thing.
I love it. It's really working for you. I love it.
You know what?
I love it a lot.
I'm gonna die on this horse.
All right. That's well. Now take us back to horses. Good. I have written mine down as well. So yeah. So what do you think? How long will it take us to get there?
I'm going to be super optimistic. Somehow you are going to find a page really quickly that leads to iconic Australian television. You're going to get there in 3.
Wow.
Okay.
That is. I want to thank you, because that is the best endorsement of our abilities that I've ever heard. And
Dani, I was
also going to be wrong in a major way.
I was also going to pitch 3 on the basis of you're just going to scroll down through the power broker till you find a lighthouse he built. You're going to get a list of famous lighthouses. You're going to go straight to Round the Twist. This is the one from Round the Twist in brackets next to the name of the lighthouse. In that case, I'll give you a much more respectable, just in case, like Dani's giving you 3.
Too much
very
pressure.
Good. I'll let you flounder for a while, and I'll give you a cool 12.
12.
Wow,
I love it. That's great.
That is quite the range.
That's the spectrum
you
right
can
there.
do it. You can just take a break in the middle.
Yeah, thank you. Well, one of you is going to be righter than the other, so bravo on that.
Maybe, unless it's like
because when you add them together and divided by 2, it's not a number.
Oh, okay, fair. Unless it takes us half a link sometime. We don't know about that.
It could take you half a link.
I did the math.
That's where you follow a footnote.
Yeah, footnote counts as a half link.
There you go. That's it. I love it.
All right.
Well, thank you again
so much.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
We love it.
I can't wait to disappoint one of you horribly in terms of the number of
Can't wait to hear it.
Absolutely. Well, take care, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
All right.
Perfect.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Jethro. So we've got our guesses. We've got our destination. I think we are ready to go. Except we haven't talked about what we're drinking yet. And I didn't even ask them, because they are like, it's in the morning tomorrow for them already.
Yeah,
so
they're having like tea.
Yeah, right. I guess.
I can't abide that. I mean, they're lovely people, but drinking
tea and Marmite,
come on.
I would assume, because that's what Australians do. How about Jethro? Are you having a sip tonight? Are you having a little drink?
Oh yeah, I am. I am having some delightful Larceny bourbon.
Oh,
so
very
that's
nice.
That's what I'm enjoying this fine evening. It's a delightful bourbon at a bargain price.
Yeah, one of my faves.
That's one of my endorsements. What about you, sir? Are you having a beverage?
I am. As a matter of fact, I'm drinking a new one tonight that shouldn't surprise anybody. A new bourbon, and it is the. So if you recall, last season I was drinking a Remus. This is the Remus Repeal Reserve. It's a very fancy, nice-looking bottle that Jethro can see, but
oh my gosh! The graphic design on that bottle is very similar to the Great Gatsby work from the Leonardo DiCaprio Baz Luhrmann version of that property.
Yeah, and it's kind of celebrates the repeal of prohibition. It says December 5th, 1933 on the back, and it's got a whole explanation. It's a bottled in bond, I think. Well, maybe not, but it's a 100 proof, and it's very, very good. I enjoy it quite a bit. And you can check out the picture of it if you want to see that bottle on our Instagram feed. Did you know we had an Instagram feed? We do.
Oh yeah, I knew.
Go check that out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll even put it in our Facebook group. We now have a Facebook group, which
where?
which folks can check out as well, and talk all about the mistakes we're making as we go along here. Speaking of mistakes,
yeah,
I gotta publish a retraction slash in the parlance of Good Job Brain. Actually, in our episode where we were going to Taylor Swift from Lhasa Apso, at one point we saw a list of shows on Nickelodeon, and I saw Special Delivery. And I said, oh, yeah, that's the show with the mannequin that came to life, blah, 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 blah. No, wrong. That was today's special that has the mannequin. Special Delivery was something entirely different that I honestly don't really remember what the premise was. But I heard myself say that, and I had to say, what are you talking about? What are you, drunk? This guy over here, huh? Well, anyway, I wanted to correct that because I didn't want people to think that I don't know my special titled Nickelodeon shows from the 1980s.
Yeah, so bravo for you for doing that. I'm sure
Thanks.
that one nerd who is listening to this is having to clean up after an orgasm.
They're very excited.
Yeah.
They're very
I think
excited.
everybody else is like, why?
What are you talking about? I think you're wrong now. Well, Jethro, I think we should get moving on this because we gotta walk ahead of us. I think
we have
walk.
Between 3 and 12 links ahead of us.
That's right. I hope it's not 12, but gosh, it could be because the Power Broker page, I haven't looked at it very closely, but it's not a super long page. And I know you always point out you only need one link to get out, and there are plenty of links in here. So let's take a look. Let's see what we got up in here.
A lot here. The thing that's getting me is that because we just did the Blue Peter badge.
Yeah.
And also because the only other avenue into this is Australia. It feels like we've got a really limited window of entry points into Round the Twist.
Well, here's what I'll say, Jethro. One of the things that was pointed out to us is that the stories from Round the Twist were inspired by, at least, if not directly from books, short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in a book right now.
Yeah.
So there are links out of here to things like biography, to things like hardback and paperback. So maybe there's a path out through what this is rather than the information about it that's on the page here. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I like that. I also like the idea of the supernatural as an avenue into this particular, because we've also dealt with the supernatural through a couple of other possibilities. I think that could be something that we are successful with.
You know what I've noticed here. I've been going through the links that are on here. There's a link to Oyster Bay, which is a geographic location. So I know we probably don't want to go there, but it is on the coast, and it goes into a section about tidal flows, and there's a link to tides. And I'm wondering if maybe this idea of the lighthouse might be a connection as well. If we went out through tides and then somehow was able to get to lighthouse from there. My concern about that, obviously, is that the particular lighthouse, we don't know the name of it, and it may not be mentioned at all in a list of famous lighthouses or lighthouse-related literature, right? There may be nothing about that.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely a risk, but
it's a possibility.
I don't have a compelling different option for us, so I think that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I like possibly better than that is to go through hardback or paperback, which are up under media type in the little box up at the very top, and that's it's very broad, hardback and paperback, but it's also so general that I worry we would have a tough time narrowing it down to what we need.
Yeah. I'm up for whatever type of adventure that Wikipedia has in store for us. So if you want to go through tidal flows, I say yes to that, Matt Hartman.
You think so? You think
I
tidal?
say yes.
You think tidal? All right. Well, if you say yes, far be it from me to talk myself out of something, as I have done many times before. Let's go to tides.
Tidal flows.
Yeah, which takes you to Tide. Actually, the page it takes you to is Tide, not the detergent. There is a disambiguation, so we could see that. But what you're going to see here is a very long page. So I like that. I like that we're on a nice long page for Tide. And if you're not familiar, folks, tides are the rise and fall of sea levels caused by the combined effects of the gravitational forces exerted by the moon and, to a much lesser extent, the sun, and are also caused by the Earth and moon orbiting one another. Did you know that?
I did not.
It's true.
I did
It's
not at
true.
all.
And, I'll point out here that, first of all, there's a link to antipode, which is the the opposite point on the Earth, right? So it's like directly on the other side of the Earth.
Is it antipode? I've always heard it as antipode.
Oh, I've always heard it as antipode. Interesting.
So there is I forget. Let me Google it really quickly. There is a line in Shakespeare that refers, I believe, to the Antipodes.
Oh, I thought that was a character, Antipode.
No.
No, don't be dumb. No, nothing.
Oh yeah, so okay, so this is from Much Ado About Nothing, which explains why I've remembered it, because there's a famous Kenneth Branagh version of this in film.
Yes.
Will your grace command me to any service in the world? I will go on the slightest errand now to the Antipodes so that you can devise me to send me on. So this is Benedict is trying not to have an interaction with Beatrice.
Interesting.
And Kenneth Branagh pronounces it Antipodes.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm not going to argue with him. He knows the English language quite well. So from now on, Antipode it is, as far as I'm concerned. And whoever says different can argue with Kenneth about it.
Exactly.
The other thing that I wanted to point out on here was that I wanted to see if there was a reference to tidal waves, which a lot of times are equated with tsunami. But in fact, a tidal wave is just any wave caused by the tide, and not necessarily a giant wave. Is a fact that I had learned, which blew my mind, because when I think tidal wave, I think huge, giant tsunami type wave, but not the case.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that the general usage in conventional English is, I think, consistent with the idea of a big gigantic wave,
right?
When in fact, like all waves are tidal waves,
right. But we know what people are talking about when we say it. So then what's the point of arguing with somebody unless you want to be pedantic, which I do, and so I do.
Being a pedantic person is so fun.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it just the greatest? People love you for it,
especially on the internet. It's the place for it.
Just wonderful.
Your pedantry.
Jethro, I've been looking through here at different possibilities. One of the things that I have seen so far is there are a lot of geographic links that we could take here. Australia is on here, as is Cook Strait, which is between the two main islands in New Zealand, which is very close to Australia.
Yeah.
So there are some. If we wanted to go geographic, which I know we haven't done for a long time, but if we felt like that was a good idea, because I haven't seen any links to anything related to lighthouses yet, I guess is what I'm getting at.
So let's get into our not phobia, but aversion to geographic links.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So everything that happens or exists happens in a particular location on the planet. So we've
talked about this before. Yeah.
I want to go into it again, Matt.
Okay.
Because
great.
The people deserve another deep dive. I feel like that the geographic hierarchy is a convenient way of getting to things that happen on our planet.
Yes.
Now I will say the thing that makes it feel cheaper to me is the ease of traversing the hierarchy.
Sure.
So you can get like Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. You can get to US, to New York, to Albany, in a way that makes it feel a little bit easy. going to something more specific like the Cook Straits feels to me like, okay, we're not taking advantage of the easy traversal of the hierarchy. So even though it is, technically geographic, it feels less dirty to me than if we were to click on something that said like Australia.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Cook Strait might not be the best one to use in this particular case since it is in New Zealand and not in Australia and not actually related to Australia in any way. But I see your point. And if there is something similar to that that is more Australian based on this page, I am happy to take a look at it. But before we do, I have to point out a couple of things on this page that I've seen that are making me excited and happy and have nothing to do with what we're searching for. First of all, there's a link on here for galactic tides.
Nice.
Have you heard of galactic tides? Because
I have not, but I'm very excited to learn more.
So galactic tides are the tidal forces exerted by galaxies on stars within them and satellite galaxies orbiting them. The galactic tides' effects on the solar system's Oort cloud are believed to cause 90% of long-period comets.
Wow.
That is awesome. I had never heard that term. It's very, very cool. The second thing I want to point out is that whole discussion we just had about the giant waves. There's a section here called misnomers. And it says tsunamis, the large waves that occur after earthquakes, are sometimes called tidal waves, but this name is given by their resemblance to the tide rather than any causal link to the tide. So there you go. So that's why they're called tidal waves. Did you know that? I didn't know that's why they were called that.
I did not know that at all.
So now we've learned something new. And folks, if you don't learn something new every day, what is the point? That's what I would have to say about it.
Yeah.
All right, so do you see now? I will point out at the bottom here in our purple boxes there are all kinds of links and things. There's stuff about diving. There's stuff about various physical oceanography. Geophysics is linked down in here. So there's all kinds of things to look through down in here. Have you seen anything in the main article yet that you've really thought, hey, this is the good way to go?
I did see a link to Australia.
Yeah, I mentioned that one already.
I know, but I'd like to repeat it.
Okay, great.
So that's certainly a possibility. I like Cook Straits, but there's nothing that's really jumping out at me.
Yeah, I'm concerned with Cook Strait again, like I said, because it's New Zealand, not Australia, and they are different places.
All right, with all due respect to the country and continent of Australia.
Oh no, careful now, Jethro.
I'm about to say something that
Jethro
is going to offend a lot of people.
Watch yourself now.
New Zealand and Australia, basically the same place. Come on, come on. Now. They're basically the same place.
Come on, man.
You know. All right. So let me make an allegory, if I may.
Sure.
Like if you talk to people from like North Dakota and South Dakota who are like just fucking insistent on how different their Dakota is. Yes. That's how I feel about New Zealand and Australia. Like, okay, fine. There's differences there, but you're basically two Dakotas here.
We are in trouble now. We are in trouble.
I'm willing to risk. Not only am I willing to risk alienating our entire Taylor Swift fandom, which we've recently acquired, I'm also willing to risk the entire listenership of the Southern Hemisphere for our podcast.
Jethro. Well, the preceding editorial does not necessarily express the views of the Drunkard's Walk podcast, and only.
I'm 50% owner of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you just told them about corporate, so we've got to run it through. I don't know. I don't feel that that's a great path to take, but I have yet to find something that is a better path to take. My hope was that there was going to be something down in these purple boxes about like lighthouses. These purple boxes are extensive.
There's like nested boxes within boxes within boxes.
Yeah, a lot of it's about diving, unfortunately. So I don't think there's going to be anything. I mean, I don't think that diving is related in any way to lighthouses. So I don't think that I'm going to find anything here. But boy, if you want to know something about diving, you can find it here. There is a lot. I mean, we could go to some other type of ocean thing, I suppose. Like, is there something else that like, would shoreline be a good thing, or which isn't actually on here. I'm looking at landforms, and I don't actually see anything that's related to lighthouse. Although maybe the lighthouse path, because there isn't a straight one out of here, isn't the best route to take out of this. Maybe we should try to get into television somehow. Is there anything about television on this page? You see anything?
I don't know. I will say that so first of all, there is a massive section on underwater diving.
Yes. Yeah. I mentioned
Like it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different expandable sections.
Yep.
Like I would have never imagined that underwater diving had that much detail that lives underneath the broad umbrella of that.
Yeah.
I will also say that there's a smaller section called Elements of Nature.
Okay.
Which has space, time, energy, matter, change, earth science, history, structure, geology, plate tectonics, etc., etc. I'm trying to think of, is there a way into the supernatural that might get us somewhere valuable?
Yeah, I was hoping to see something about ball lightning on this page because it's so related to the ocean. But unfortunately, you know what I do see a link to, though? Pliny the Elder. Everyone have a drink.
Now? Look at that. Where's that?
He's under the history of tidal observation. The Naturalis Historia of Pliny the Elder collates
Naturalis
many tidal
Historia
observations.
Of Pliny the Elder collates many tidal observations.
There
God bless you, Pliny the Elder. Look at you.
There he is. So
You're everywhere we want to be.
That's true. We haven't seen him in a while, though, I feel like. It's nice to see him back.
It feels like we've been favoring Baphomet of late, and Pliny the Elder, good to see him.
Haven't we ever? You know what is in here, Jethro, that we could potentially go to? It kind of similar to the Cook Strait that we were looking at before. The Great Barrier Reef is linked on here.
Is it now?
And the Great Barrier Reef, as you may or may not know, is located off the coast of Australia. I believe is actually considered part of Australia. So that may be a somewhat geographical path to get us close to Australia. Although I don't know how we would get out of that without just going to Australia from there. But maybe that's it. I don't know that I see anything that looks particularly, the term just left my mind, supernatural on here. Unless you do, have you seen anything like that connects supernaturally to anything? I mean, you'd think there'd be like tides connected to the moon connected to werewolves connected to supernatural, huh? Anything like that? No, nothing. Anything?
I mean, I'm not seeing a lot, but I'm sure there's a lot of moon links that are on here.
So Dead Reckoning is a link, and I believe that is the subtitle of a Pirates of the Caribbean film. So we could go to Dead Reckoning and then go to the disambiguation and get to that.
We could.
Vertebrates, lunar month, menstrual cycle, all linked on here.
I don't know about menstrual cycle, but I do think linked. That I mean, we could just go to moon.
Moon?
Moon.
Why would that be helpful?
I feel like
I'm not saying no. I'm just asking why do you think that's the way to go?
So I think that the moon has a lot of symbolic importance. I think that it's going to be tied to a lot of supernatural stuff just by virtue of the fact that it's a symbol that has been associated with things of that nature. I think that there's a lot of possibility there. And I guess technically speaking, it's geographic, but it's it's not on Earth. So I feel like we got to pass on that.
Yeah, we could. I guess I'm concerned about it getting us to where we need to go. But if you think that's better than Great Barrier Reef, I feel like Great Barrier Reef might be a good path. I feel like, who knows, there could be an episode of this show that takes place at the Great Barrier Reef, and that is somehow listed there. And Moon to me seems to be moving further away. I feel like Great Barrier Reef gets us closer.
Interesting.
That's my thought.
Interesting.
So I vote Great Barrier Reef. Are you going to stick with Moon, or will you come along with me to the Great Barrier Reef?
All right. I will relent and go with your Great Barrier Reef.
Let's do it.
Insistence.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Great Barrier Reef.
What's so great?
The
about
world's
the barrier
largest coral reef system, composed of over 2,900 individual reefs
and
so 900 islands stretching for over 2,300 kilometers over an area of approximately 344,400 square kilometers. The reef is located in the Coral Sea off the Queensland, Australia area.
And what's so good about a good time spent?
Indeed.
All right. So there are a lot of things that are Australian on this page.
Indeed.
I will point that out. And that is good news for us because that's the general area we want to be in. So I think if we can find something about like, I don't know, in popular culture or something like that, that would be the greatest. I don't see it initially, but I do see a link to CNN, which is television, but unfortunately it's US based television. So
that's unfortunate.
There's a link to Wonky Hole.
Wonky Hole? Oh, do tell.
It's a colloquial Australian term for a submarine groundwater discharge.
I love a good discharge.
Yeah.
There we go.
Dwarf minke whale is linked on here. Humpback whale, sea snake, all kinds of sea animals, which I would assume live in the Great Barrier Reef. I'm not reading. I'm zipping past these things, so I'm not seeing. Climate change is linked on here. I think one time we were trying to find something about climate change. This would have been a good place to be. Pollution and water quality, fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. I mean, obviously there's links here to Australian things, like the Australian Institute of Marine Science is linked on here. I'm sure Australia itself is actually linked on here. I just flew past it already. Shark culling. Okay. Humane Society, Queensland government.
All right, Matt,
What do you got?
I have a provocative and controversial suggestion here.
Be controversial, my man.
All right. So we all know the see also. It's basically the end of any article where it's like, hey, if the Library of Congress recommends if you like this, you might also like that.
Mm-hmm.
And underneath that, there is a references section.
Okay.
Which is basically the footnotes of all of the links that exist within the Wikipedia article.
Oh, so most of them take you outside of Wikipedia, right?
Most of them do. However,
yes.
Most is not all.
Well, that's true. It's the reason we have most. Yes.
Yeah. So what I have found is in the list of references that are linked at the bottom of this article.
Yes.
There is a link to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, which is an internal Wikipedia link to the Wikipedia article for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation article.
Interesting.
Right?
I just saw Australian government and was going to argue that would get us to that because I believe they are related to each other. But if there's a link straight there, that may be a way to go. Now, I don't know for sure that they made this show. I do know that they make the show Bluey, an incredibly popular Australian television show, which has made its way around the world. So if I'm certainly willing to give that a shot. Where do you see that?
So if you go down to the references section, it is basically split into two columns because there are a total of 142 references linked in this article. And if you look at reference number 87, I think it is 87, Reef Dreams, Working the Reef TV documentary, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation is linked here.
I
And
see
if
it.
you look, if you hover over it, it is an internal Wikipedia link. And by the way, if we click this, this is Drunkard's Walk History. We have never before clicked on a link in the references section, and I feel like we need to mark this moment as
I actually think that we have, Jethro.
have we?
Yeah,
Have we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. I'm pretty sure
I'm
we
making
found.
a really big fucking deal about this, Matt.
I know. Yeah,
And I
pretty
want you
sure
to back me up that we've never
No.
done this before.
I can't. I'm pretty sure we found a very similar type of thing to. I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been another like television station or something like that, or something
Yeah.
along those lines. I think we found something similar to that. Like
I
either
was so
earlier this
excited and
season or
proud.
last season.
And I thought we were so basically, I'm like the second person to discover an island.
Exactly. Yes.
Something like, I've discovered this. Oh, there are people who are already living here.
Yeah. Well, I'll make it
Basically,
mine.
Christopher Columbus
Yeah, that's
without
it.
the genocide.
Thankfully, yes.
Well, there we go. All right,
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's go to Australian Broadcasting Corporation.
here we are. We did it. Hurrah for us.
Australian Broadcasting Corporation. So I would like to think that even if they did not actually have anything to do with the making of this show, there might either be a link to the show or at least a link to popular children's Australian shows or something, right?
Yeah. So I will say that I've scrolled down very quickly to the 1950 to 2000 section.
Oh, wow.
Which is bizarrely large. And there is a link to Bananas in Pajamas.
Sure.
And I will also point out that pajamas is spelled Pyjamas,
Yes.
which causes me to have a spinal stroke to see pajamas spelled
Okay.
in that way.
Yeah.
Like my nervous system cannot process it. It's very disturbing to
You're
me.
gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. Just breathe through it. Breathe through it.
I'm breathing deeply, but it's
be okay.
very problematic for me.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Have you? Is what we're looking for there?
I've not seen it, but that is very, very
no.
challenging for me.
I see where you're at. There's a link to the Wiggles in that section as well.
I love it.
That's. I don't know if you ever did your child watch the Wiggles at all?
No, we were fortunately pre-Wiggles in terms of
Wiggles aren't bad. Wiggles aren't
Really?
bad. They're not like wonderful, but they're nowhere near the level of like a Teletubby or a Barney or something like that. Like they're pretty good.
For me, like the most annoying media that Maddie got interested in as a child that we had to suffer through. There are two things that spring to mind. Number one is Dora the Explorer, which
are you a
feels
map?
like not great.
Yeah.
And the second one was the Beverly Hills Chihuahua films.
Oh,
because-
which we referenced already once.
Yeah, we
on the
would
podcast.
like definitely when Christy and I were watching a kids movie in the theater and a preview
Yes.
for one of those came out, we
Yeah.
would be like flipping a coin, like, okay, you
Yep.
got to take her to this one.
Yep. Well, you know, I can't say that I most of the time when things like that come up for my child, I'm just like, you're just not going to see that. You're just not going to see that. That's fine.
God bless you for having the fortitude of being able to do that.
She watches things on her own too now at this point. You know what I mean? Like that's
Fair enough.
we've kind of gotten past a lot of the problems on those types of things. Here's the thing. I've gone not all the way to the bottom of this page, but a good deal of the way down. I have not seen anything about this. What I do see in the C also is history of broadcasting in Australia, which is possible, I guess. But maybe we go to something like the Wiggles or Bananas in Pajamas or something like that, and then hope that it gets us into other types of children's broadcasting. Because my guess is this is not an ABC show at this point because it's not on this page. What do you think?
All right, so I guess, and again, at the risk of offending our Southern Hemisphere constituency,
You're going to do it though.
how many Australian television networks are there?
I mean, there must be quite a few just based off of the fact that it's not on this page. I mean, well, I don't know. There seem to be a bunch. I seem to be a bunch. Now, there is a ABC local programming current and upcoming section down in the purple boxes. Under children, we have these seem to all be current. Born to Spy, Mavericks, and the PM's daughter. Those are the only things linked there. Soundtrack to our teenage zombie apocalypse is upcoming. But what I don't see is anything. These all seem to be things that are on. Yeah. Oh, it says. I'm sorry. It says current and upcoming. I read that right out loud and then I just ignored it. So those obviously are things that are still on the air. There's links to ABC Kids, which is for between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7:30 for children 6 years old and younger. That doesn't seem like where we're at with this, right? Seems like it's for older kids.
Yeah. I don't know.
10 bold Nickelodeon is linked on here. Nickelodeon is an Australian free-to-air digital television multi-channel owned by Paramount Networks UK and Australia. Could it have been on Nickelodeon? It feels like a Nickelodeon show.
It does.
So we could try that. I mean, that'll definitely still keep us in the realm of children's television.
Okay.
I'm tempted to do it. It is specifically the Australian Nickelodeon, not like Nickelodeon overall. So I feel like that there's a possibility there.
That's a possibility. All right. So on the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, if we scroll down, there is a section that references particular networks out of particular cities. Now, do you remember a city that they mentioned with regards to Round the Twist?
No, I do not. I don't. It felt like it was more of a national type of thing. It wasn't. It wasn't a local. It didn't feel local.
Okay.
Based on what they were saying, maybe it is, and I just totally am misinterpreting. But it didn't feel that way.
All right.
I really think that this is not an ABC show. I really think that this is. I think that if it was an ABC show, it would be in that section, that 1950 to 2000. I mean, maybe not. I could be wrong, but they seem to indicate that it was like very well known. And so my feeling is it would be under there. Although I will say The Wiggles and Bananas in Pajamas are both shows that I have seen, so have made it out of Australia, whereas this is a show that didn't. So maybe it is still. And it just isn't popular enough to put on a Wikipedia page. But my vote is to go to the Australian Nickelodeon page and use that as it for nothing else. If it's not on that page, as a jumping off point to something else that might get us there.
All right. So duly noted. Let me ask you if it makes more sense to go through a particular show, including something as abysmally spelled as Bananas in Pajamas, to try to get to a category of children's television shows in Australia.
So here would be my reasoning why that is not the best path, is because Bananas in Pajamas is intended for children who are much younger, as is The Wiggles, than what appears to be the audience for this particular show. This particular show, I would say, is more for upper elementary, middle school, maybe early high school. That's how it feels. Like, especially because
sophisticated kids.
Well, not sophisticated, but I'm saying older. And we mentioned the shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, things like that. And they said, yeah, it's in that, it's not spooky, but it's in that same realm. And again, those shows were for that audience, right? So my feeling is if we go through something like Bananas Pajamas or The Wiggles, we are getting ourselves into a place that is too young of an audience, much like the, 6-year-old audience is too young for what we're looking for. We need a slightly older audience than that. Is my thought.
Wow.
Now, Born to Spy, Mavericks, and the PM's Daughter, those feel like they are older series, right, for an older audience. But they are newer. My concern is the pages will be very small. I think this Nickelodeon idea is the best one that we have right now.
I mean, I don't have a super high degree of confidence in it, but I also don't have a better suggestion. So I feel like
Perfect.
I'm going to have to relent to your...
Take what you can get. That's the story of America.
I don't know that that's the story.
Oh, it is. It currently is. All right, so we're
where is this Nickelodeon link?
It is at the bottom. It is in our little drop downs, our little purple drop downs under the free to air television channels in Australia. And under 10 network
free
holdings,
to air
you will see
channels in Australia.
Yep.
And we've got Nickelodeon. Where is it?
10 network holdings.
Nickelodeon.
It's the last one on the list there. Nickelodeon. Yep.
All right, there it is. Here we go.
All right. Oh, good. It originally launched as 10 Shake on September 27th, 2020.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Well, that's not good. That is already bad.
It really isn't.
That is already bad. Oh, my good Lord. All right. Well, let's get into it here. They do have current programming listed. And I'm looking through that. It's in alphabetical order, and Round the Twist is not on that list. Upcoming programming. Oh, and former programming. Okay, former programming maybe. Star Trek Prodigy, BoJack Horseman. These are all shows from these are from the 2000s. This is not great. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is not what we wanted at all.
All right, well, thanks for that admission.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I absolutely was wrong about this. It didn't occur to me in a million years that Nickelodeon would have started in the 2020s. Not at all what I thought it was going to be. Okay, so we can try one of those, go out through a show now if you want.
What a desperate plea.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say at this point. There's oh boy. Yeah, sorry. Just totally surprised by the fact that this is such a new network. Never would have occurred to me.
Is this the end for us? Is this the end of Drunkards Walk, the podcast?
The end of Drunkards Walk. It might be.
Have we reached the conclusion of it?
It might just be. I thought this was going to be a good path, and it turns out it is not at all. Now, I mean, it can get us into other children's television. Obviously, it doesn't get us into children's television like as a genre, because children's entertainment is typed on this page or is on this page, but it's not linked, of course, because why would it be? That'd be dumb. There is Nickelodeon Pay TV, but I'm not going to be tricked by that again.
No, I feel like you're going too far down that path.
Oh yeah, no, forget that. Children's programming, local Australian children's programming, Totally Wild, Crock-a-Moley, and C-classified dramas.
Okay.
Regulations on television programming in Australia. Yeah, I don't think we want that necessarily. But I mean, maybe Totally Wild or Crock-a-Moley is a way to go. These seem to be for kids. They both are like very new. Oh, actually, Totally Wild is an Australian television series which premiered on Network 10 in 1992. So there is at least a possible contemporary here.
Okay,
try that. I don't know. What do you think? I'm gonna follow you out of here because clearly I made a wrong turn. So now it's time to hand the non-map over to the other.
I mean, I greatly appreciate your generosity of getting us into a terrible fix and then asking me to
get
navigate
me out of it. Yeah.
Did they mention any specific Australian Sydneys? Excuse me, Sydney. There's a cities. There's a Freudian slip.
No, they didn't mention specific cities.
All right.
We talked about this before, and I don't see anything.
I'm grasping at straws here.
I mean, there's a whole there's a lot of drop downs here in the in the purple boxes. Most of them are networks. It appears. I was looking to see if there were actual like shows listed, but they seem to mostly be networks. Again, we've got our free to air television channels in Australia that we could go to, but there is a link to television in Australia. There's
Where's
timeline
that?
of Australian television, and there's also television broadcasting in Australia. These things are all under the free to air television channels in Australia box under the See Also.
Under See Also?
So it's the purple box, the free to air television channels in Australia. And then there's a See Also section of that box.
Television in Australia.
Also television broadcasting in Australia, timeline of Australian television.
Also,
don't know.
can I point out something that I find very odd?
Yeah.
So under the external links, which is normally like, these sort of lilac colored boxes,
Yes.
the Nickelodeon links
Yes.
are all orange, which is a branded color for Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And I find, like, why is Wikipedia doing that? Are they getting money from Nickelodeon to brand their link oranges? Like, it's just very strange to me.
I have no idea. I really don't know. Maybe that's possible.
Right. So we could go to television in Australia.
Yep.
And I feel like we're still relatively in the same ballpark, but then we suffer the problem of like, okay, well, now what?
Well, I mean, we hope that there's a link to television for children in Australia, or
Right.
something
So
ridiculous
let me
like
ask
that.
you this. So we've got two links here: television in Australia and television broadcasting in Australia. Do we feel like one of those is a slightly more advantageous link than the other?
I don't know. I mean, if this show is as big as they say it is, timeline of Australian television might have it too. So I guess television in Australia, it says, when you mouse over it, television in Australia began experimentally as early as 1929 in Melbourne with radio stations 3DB and 3UZ and 2UE in Sydney. Like, I guess my concern is it's not going to talk about specific shows, but I guess it might.
I don't know is the short answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm again, as I said, I'm handing the reins to you. So I don't know which of these is going to be better. I think there's a chance that either of them could have it, but I don't know which one's going to be a better chance.
It's a fair point, and we don't know.
No, we don't. We got to try something though, and we're running low on time. So
Are we now?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're
I
well
thought we
over
had-
the 1 hour mark.
Oh my gosh.
Now our talk with them went a little longer, so I'm giving us a little bit more time, but
I
we're
love
definitely
it.
definitely over the mark. Make a call. 3, 2, 1.
All right, I'm going to
What is
go with the television in Australia.
All right, let's do it. Television in Australia is the page that we are going to. And happy to see it is a fairly long page. So there we go. Television in Australia. I see ratings. Oh, these are all about stations, though, aren't they? Oh, boy. Wow. There's a lot on this page.
Is there?
Yeah, there sure is.
Good for you.
Yeah. Early demonstrations of television in Australia. That takes us not even to the night. Early programs. The Adventures of Long John Silver is talked about on here.
Look at that. Bravo. Good for you.
Television and programming in the 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s. The Late Show, Blue Heelers. Oh no. I don't think it's in there. Unless I'm missing it. See the 80s. Neighbors is on here. Home and Away is on here. Halifax FP, Stingers, Water Rats, Sea Change, All Saints. There's a lot mentioned, but I don't see Round the Twist on here. Do you? Am I missing it?
I don't. Oh, no. So, all right. So on the right side, there is a Culture of Australia section at the very top.
Okay.
Which has a list of a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a link for arts and literature, and there is a literature section there, which has a literature link that is specifically for arts and literature. Literature of Australia.
Okay.
And if you recall, this series is based on a popular series of short stories / books. If Paul Jennings is the Australian phenomenon that we've been led to believe, I feel like this is a way to get into it. We have fumbled around television for several links now and not found it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is, if it is a popular enough book to warrant a TV series, then it's going to be in the top X percentage of books. So I feel like literature is a reasonable way for us to go, because it takes us specifically to Australian literature.
Yeah.
And Matt, I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
I've deferred to you on a couple of these links. I'm going to have to insist.
Well, Jethro, let me throw one possibility out at you that I hate, but I'm going to throw it out at you anyway for the chance that it might be faster.
Did you find Round the Twist?
No, I wish I had. But under the purple box, there is a list. There are lists. There's a list of lists.
Okay.
And one of the lists is list of Australian television series.
Where is this?
Under the purple boxes.
Which purple box is it under?
Television in Australia. And then lists. And the second to last one is list of Australian television series. So there is a chance that it is on that, but I guess there's a chance it's not. What is unfortunate about this particular page is that there are like breakdowns of different types of shows, serials and dramas, mini serials, soap operas, comedy, and scheduling is under there as well. There's no children's broadcasting on here, which is very frustrating because they list a bunch of different shows, but children's is not here. So Around the Twist.
All right, Matt, I have a bold proposal.
Do it.
And that is, we let the fickle winds of chance decide.
Oh,
do you happen to have a coin present by you? I can go fetch one quickly.
No, I have yes, I have a coin here. Yes.
All right. So what I'm going to suggest is that you flip that coin.
Okay.
And heads, we go to your suggestion, and tails, we go to my suggestion.
All right, I'm flipping it now. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, came up tails.
Tails. So heads was yours, tails was mine.
That's right.
So my suggestion was Australian literature, which is in the on the upper right hand corner of the page, the literature box.
Let's do it.
And there we go. And I'm happy to report that there is a section called children's literature.
Okay.
Which I have moved down to, and I'm hastily scanning for any possible thing. And double whammy, my friend.
What do we got?
Two things. Paul Jennings is linked here, a prolific writer of contemporary Australian fiction for young people whose career began with a collection of short stories such as Unreal and Unbelievable. Many of the stories were adapted as episodes of the award-winning television show Round the Twist.
There it is.
There she blows.
There it is. Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness gracious me. Wow. Okay. Woof. For a second there, thought we weren't going to make it.
We almost had a postmodern jukebox situation.
I know, right? Give it up for that coin. Well done. A Australian children's comedy drama series. So there you go. And
Bravo.
Supernatural Adventures of the Twist Family. Well, we have done it, Jethro. And as I said, we're time-wise, we've gone way over our normal allowance. But we've done it. We've made it. And so let's take a look at how we did as far as guesses were concerned. Were we closer to Bill's or Dani's? And it looks like we were a little closer to Dani's guess of 3 because it took us 7.
There you go. So we were
7,
4 away from Dani's guess. We were 5 away from Bill's guess.
That's right.
But we were right on the center line. But more importantly, where are we in relation to your guess and my guess? Like, where are we from that perspective?
It's a good question, Jethro. And I think I found a good way for us to determine who should reveal first. Whoever episode it is, they reveal first.
All
so
right,
since
so
this is a
in this
you
case-
episode,
All right. So I will reveal my guess, which was 6.
6.
I thought it was going to take us 6 links to get there. So what did you say there, sir?
Well, Jethro, I said 5 because I had more faith in us than that.
Aha. Well, and you've been punished for that, sir.
You know, you taught me last season that I'm supposed to take my guess and take something away from it, and then that's what I'm supposed to go with. And I did that, and it screwed me over. So that's it.
Matt,
I'm done with that.
I am playing the long game. The good news is though that you are still ahead.
Oh yeah, by 1. It's such a lead that it's not even worth talking about. It's not even. It's going to be gone in an episode.
But Matt, to be fair, it may be the last lead you ever hold this season, so you should embrace it.
Should I? Thank you so much for putting it into that perspective. I appreciate it. I really do. You're the best. Well, this has been an exciting one, a lot of fun, and a longer walk. Not our longest of the season, but a longer one. And but we made it, and here we are.
Yeah, Matt, I would feel bad if we did not honor our commitment to the explore the Liftoff Australian TV series, which Bill had mentioned, and see the mannequin, faceless mannequin thing there. Like, what was it that was so horrifying that he mentioned?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but Jethro, I have good news for you. There's a link to Liftoff on this page.
Is there now?
There is. It is under Series 2, under Reception. I think it's under Reception. Reception, Series 2, Launch. You will see that there's a link to Liftoff on here.
Indeed. And there is, I'm not seeing a single image.
No.
You'd mentioned like some horrifying, nightmare-inducing mannequin image, and there's nothing represented on this page.
We're going to have to Google it to see that image, and we encourage you all to Google it as well. Liftoff is the name of a show, and there you go. I do want to point out, Jethro, that this show though that we were looking at Round the Twist, BBC. Originally on BBC One in 1990. So
that explains.
But then eventually on ABC from 1993 to 2001. So that ABC page should have. They should have had it. They should have had it, but they didn't. So
shame on them.
Just angry at them. But I'm so happy with you, and so happy with our listeners. Thanks for listening, everybody. And Jethro, shall we see them next week?
We shall indeed.